for everything else, right? Yeah, that was a big number. That was a big number. So this is 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. How many of them? What? Oh, that's a lot. Yeah, that was more than I thought it was. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Yes, yes. So 8 ones, 5 zeros, and 8 plus 5 is 13. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense. So yeah, if we can, boy, this. So 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 2 3 4 5. This entire thing up here in base 2 is what that is. Base 2, if we're converting base 2 to base 10, I believe that that's a lot easier to do. Whole heap easier. Now this was a bit tedious because of the number that we had. The number was kind of big, you know. Number was big. So first we use 8,160. Now let's see what happens if we use something like, so we're done with this one, right? We're done with that one. So let's try 5,967 and see what ends up being our case right here. So I could get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. We could still keep this. And let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. And let's put down here 5,967. Oh, I don't need these zeros here either. Yeah. Okay. All right. So obviously we can rule out this. We can rule out the 8,192. We can rule out that. Now we can use at least one of the 4,096. So let's use one of that. So we have 4096. Alright, let me make my life easy. If I add 4 to that number, I get 4,100. Alright, 5 minus 4 is 1. 9 minus 1 is 8. 6 minus 0 is... I don't know. What am I doing a while ago? Right? So 4,001 from that. Yeah. And if I add this to that, I'd get 1871. So let me write that now. 1871. Alright, good. Now here's the problem. 2048 is bigger than this. So now we will have to put a 0 right here. So we can't use no parts of 2048. Now we have to move to 1024. Let's use one of 1024, right? So we have 1024. What do I add to this to make my life easier? So if I add 6 to that, carry 1, 3 plus 7. So I have that. If I take 1100 from that, I'd end up with what? 18 minus 11. Yeah. So now that's going to be, well, if I add the two of them, this is going to be 847. Alright, so 1 carry the 1. Yeah. Alright, no, 512 can definitely fit, so we might as well use it. So let's put 512 into this. So this will be 7 minus 2, 5. This is 3. This is 3. Then you can fit 256. We don't forget that. Right? So might as well subtract the 256 from this. So 256. Alright, 44. If I add 44 to that, I get 300. So 44 plus 35. So add 44 to 35. What that? That's looking like 79. So that's looking like 79. Make sure I'm right. That look better than that. Now 256 plus 79 is in fact, yeah, 335. Right, so we just want to make sure that go on. Now 128 is bigger than this, so we can't use it. Right? Yeah. So we couldn't use any of 2048. We couldn't use 128. Now we can use 64. So let's subtract 64 from all of this. So we have 64. So I'm going to put a 1 beside it. 9 minus 4, we have 5. 7 minus 6. A lie. So 79. Yeah. So now we're not a good spot now. 15 is smaller than 32. We can't use any amount of 32. And it's also smaller than 16, so we can't use that neither. So what's your joke now? We don't have a choice but to use 8, 4, 2, and 1. Because what? 4 plus 2 is 6 plus 1, 7. 7 plus 8 give us 15. So we have to use 1 of each. So 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and a 1 right here. Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. Obviously, you know what? It's okay. I can make the adjustment so that it makes a little bit more sense. So let me try and move this up here a little bit, and then yeah, why not? Why not? So we knew what we were doing, right? Now we're converting that to base 2. All right. So we have 8,192 here, 4,096, 2048, 1,024, and then we just let's write it over so that we have everything we need. Alright, hold on, you know. So after this we have 512, 256, 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, and then 1. Right. So this was to the power of 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and of course right. Now what we said we could not use was the 8,192. Right, we used one of 4,096. We used 2048. We used one of 1,024, one of 512, 256. We didn't use any of, we never use 128, but we used 64, and we never used 32 or 16. But then we used 8, 4, 2, and 1, 8 plus 4, 12 plus 2, 14 plus 1, right? So we used one of all of that. So if we write it in this order now, coming down, yeah, and that should take care of that. So okay, now that we've done that, if we were to write it, it would be 10111 01001. Yeah. So this would be the base 2 of the number of this number in base 10. Yeah. And if you can do the difficult ones, you can do the easy ones. All right, let us say I wanted to say convert 87, that's in base 10, and I want to convert that to base 2. Well, let's see the first number that 87 bigger than, or rather, let's take out the first number that's bigger than 87 actually. It would be 128. That's the number that would be bigger than 87. So we'd have to start with 64 going down. We can't go above 64. So that means if we subtract 64 from this, we have a better idea of where we stand. So we have at least a 64. When we're done, we're at 23. Now, that means that 23 is smaller than the 32, so we're now going to be able to use that. So we now have to skip to 16. Right? We'll have to skip to 16. Now this is 7. Now what I know about 7 is that if you add 4 plus 2 plus 1, you get 7. Right? So therefore, we would, okay. So just so that we understand what just happened, we'd be using we'll be using a 1. We don't use a 32. We use a 16. We don't use any 8, but we use one of these. Or rather, yeah, each one of these. So therefore, 87 would be, just so that, let me just write it so that. So we would have 1 0 1 0 1 1 1. That would be our, this would be our base 2 equivalent of the number 87. So let's see, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6. 2 to the 6, 64. We don't use any of the 5, but we use what? 2 to the 4. Yeah. So we use 2 to the 6, 2 to the 4, and then we use 2, 1, and 0. So we don't use 2 to the 5, and we don't use 2 to the 3. Yeah. So if you can mash up the bigger number them when you get back to the smaller ones, it just, everything work itself out. Alright. Give me 1 second, hold on. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay. I suppose I can get rid of a portion of this. Right? And sometimes you can just think of a number that's just a little bit bigger than any of the powers and see what that would look like. So let's say you wanted to use something like, let's say you did want to say 997, and you wanted that as base 2. Well, you look at the numbers that you have over here. 1024 is bigger than this, so you know not to, so you're not going to entertain the 1024, right? Because 1024 is bigger than 997. So the largest number that can fit is your 512. So you subtract your 512 from that. Right? Subtract your 512 from that. And notice I color code it. Right? So now 9 minus 5 is 4. 9 minus 1 is 8. And this is 5. Now we have 485. So we're probably going to use the 256. Alright, we might have to use that. Alright, so let's go to the 256. If I take 3 from that, that's like 185. What did I add to this to get that? 44. So that will leave me with 229. Yeah. So therefore, my next response is 229. Now, you know what you can do too? I mean, only if you feel like doing that. 512 is 2 to the power of 9. And this is 2 to the power of 8. So sometimes you can just put the numbers there to kind of remind yourself, you know, where you are. Let's see now. Well, you might as well use 128. Might as well, right? So let's use 128. 2 minus 1, 1. 2 minus 2, 0. That 101. So this is what, to the power of 7? What else we're doing now? 101 bigger than the 64, so let's use the 64. So 64 plus 36 give me 100. So 36 plus 1, I will have 37. Now I have 32. Life just get nice now. So now I can subtract 32 from this. Leaving me with 5. And I know that that is 4 plus 1. So I can put a 0 beside the 16, 0 beside the 8, a 1 by the 4, nothing in front of the 2, and 1 by the 1. So now when I'm ready, I just let's just put this. So what number is this? You have 5 ones, 2 zeros, 1 0 1. So this is your base 2. And that is your base 10. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to write the 6 and the 5 right there. Forgot to do that. Right? This way you remember. You have a 6 here, you have a 5 here. And then the only thing else you used was what? 2 to the power 2 and then 2 to the power 1. Yeah, we never use the 4 and the 3. And the numbers do help, right? Because if you have 0 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they tell you what we never use. So we never use 1, we never use 3, and we never use 4. Yeah. So we used, right, we used one of this, one of this, one of this, yeah. And it match up. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we never use 16 or 8. There's a 0 beside each of them for that reason. And then there's a 0 beside, yeah, beside all of that. Yeah, you know, hopefully this was, you know, I mean, I don't like the repeated division. I mean, you can do that if you want, but yeah, that method was always dodgy for me. I mean, I remember doing it in school and it never really, it wasn't really something that I, you know, I really wasn't really fond of it, right? But doing this, when you do the subtractions, I mean, you get in your practice anyway. So if you ever struggle with subtraction, you can always practice it doing this. And then at the same time, you are, you know, you're making sense of how large the numbers need to be. The largest number, smaller than 997, is 512. Subtract it from it, you get 485. Now we have to move from that. What's the largest number smaller than it is 256. Then you get 229. The largest number smaller than it is 128. Do that subtraction, you get 101. The largest number smaller than that, 64. Take it from that, you get 37. The largest number smaller than that is 32. And that leaves you with 5. And of course, 5 minus 4 leave you with 1. 1 minus 1. That's it. Alright, so really and truly, I should have done this. 5 minus 4. And then of course, you're left with 1 minus 1, right? So we use 1 plus 4 plus this plus this plus this plus this plus this. If we add up all the numbers in red, it gives us 997. So let me do that as the final act, right? 1 plus 4 plus 32 plus 64 plus 128 plus 256 plus 512 and it give you back with 997. Yeah, that 997. All right. I'm at my limit. So, ideally, no, I want to do this Tuesday to Thursday, usually during the afternoon. So I start at 12. So, yeah, Tuesday to Thursday. I start at 12. If I'm a little early, maybe I'm a little early. If I'm a little late, I'm a little late. So maybe I could be 5 minutes earlier, I could be 5 minutes late. Right? But usually around 12 in the afternoon. So anyhow, hopefully this wasn't too stressful on the brain. So anyway, yeah, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, starting at 12, I'll do this again.